Hey everyone, in this video I want to go over one of the most important theorems in all of mathematics, the Pythagorean Theorem. So first, let's talk about right triangles. So we have a triangle right here, as you could see, and this is a right triangle. So it's a special type of triangle, and what makes it a right triangle is it has a right angle right here. A right angle meaning that this is a 90-degree angle. So that is a right angle. It's at 90 degrees. And this is a right triangle. So let's talk about what a right triangle is made up of. So a right triangle has two legs. So this line right here and this line right here, both of these sides. So both of those sides are called legs. And what makes them the legs? So that's a leg, that's a leg. What makes them both legs is that they both make up the right angle. They both make up the right angle, and the point at which the legs meet make up this 90-degree right angle. So those two sides are legs. Now, what is the point, or what is the side opposite to this right angle? What is this third side called? So this third side has a special name. It is called the hypotenuse. So hypotenuse. The hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is the largest side of any right triangle. So in any right triangle, the side opposite to the right angle is the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is always the longest side. It's longer than either leg. So it's longer than this leg. We'll just call this leg, let's call this leg A, and let's call this one leg B. Perfect. So it's longer than either leg A or leg B, the hypotenuse. So now that we know what a right triangle is made up of, it's made up of two legs, a hypotenuse, and it has a right angle. Let's talk about the actual Pythagorean theorem. So let's write it out, and let's talk about how it works. So the Pythagorean theorem, it goes like this. It means a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, what is a, what is b, what is c, and what does all this mean? So a is one of the legs, it's leg A. B is the other leg, leg B. And C is the hypotenuse is C. So leg A is this A right here in the Pythagorean theorem. Leg B is this B right here, and leg C is the hypotenuse. Excellent. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That means if you take the length of A, of one of the legs, you square it, and then you add it with the square of the other leg, you will get the square of the hypotenuse. So let's go through an example. Let's say that we know how large or how long leg A was. Let's say leg A had a length of 3, and leg B had a length of 4. And we wanted to find out how long the hypotenuse is. So we have this right triangle. We know that all of this is 3, and all of this is 4. How long is the entire hypotenuse? How long is all of this? So let's go find out using the Pythagorean theorem. So we know what our A is. So our A is 3, and our B is 4. So let's write it out. A squared plus B squared. So 3 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. And C is what we're trying to find. So let's make that green just to make it clear. C squared. And let me actually move this just a little further down so that we can continue with this. So 3 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. And let's go ahead and evaluate this. So what is 3 squared? 3 squared is 9. And what is 4 squared? 4 squared is 16, so plus 16 equals c squared. And what is 9 plus 16? 9 plus 16 is 25. So let me continue over here. 25 equals c squared. Good, so we know c squared equals 25, but what is c? How do we find c? So we know c squared is 25, so let's take the square root of both sides. So c is the square root of 25, because taking the square root of a square, that'll cancel the square and the square root out. So c equals the square root of 25, and what is radical 25 exactly? That is 5. Therefore, c equals 5, and that means our hypotenuse, the length of this green side right here, the hypotenuse is 5. And that is how we find the length of the hypotenuse using the Pythagorean theorem. So let's talk about this a different way. Let's say we knew, or we had a right triangle. So let me try to draw one. Let's draw a right triangle. And we knew the hypotenuse. Let's say we knew the hypotenuse was 5. So the right angle is right here, and the hypotenuse is up here. We knew the hypotenuse is 5, and we knew one of the legs is 3, and we wanted to find out how long this leg was right here. So how long was this leg? We can still use the Pythagorean theorem, because a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we have our c. Our c is this 5, so our 5 is c. And our 3 could either be a or b. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Just for sake of example, we're just choosing a. But b could work as well, and then you could solve for a, or you could put it in a and then solve for b. The legs are interchangeable, so we're going to call this 3a. So let's go ahead and substitute the a for 3. So this is 3 squared. So 3 squared plus b squared equals, and we're going to substitute the c for 5. So that is 5 squared. And let's go ahead and start evaluating. So the 3 squared and the 5 squared. So what's the 3 squared? That is 9. And what is the 5 squared? That is 25. Let's write down everything else. So plus b squared equals. So b is what we're trying to solve. So this question mark right here, that is b. That is what we're trying to solve. So let's go ahead and isolate b. So we have a plus 9 on this side. We're going to subtract 9 from both sides. So that will cancel. Therefore, b squared equals 25 minus 9. And what's 25 minus 9? That is 16. And we know b squared is 16, so to solve for b, we'll take the square root of both sides. And b equals radical 16, which is 4. So b is 4. Therefore, the length of this side right here is 4. So if you have both legs, you can find the hypotenuse using the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared is c squared. As long as you have any of two of these. If you have a and b, you can solve for c. If you have a and c, you can solve for b. Or if you have b and c, you could solve for a. The rule is that if you have two of them, you can solve for the third one using this theorem right here. And that's what makes it so powerful in mathematics. So I hope this video helps you understand the Pythagorean theorem. And please let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. And thank you for watching.